Good afternoon, Sean here, Mountains Garage. We're flying the missing man formation today. We had one go down. Seriously, M18 Milwaukee Power Tools. You get used to using them, and when they're gone, you don't know what to do. Let's talk about it. One of the companies I used to deal with in my old job, and I still buy from them, once a year, the Milwaukee rep would come around. I didn't necessarily mean to become a hoarder of Milwaukee Tools, user of Milwaukee Tools. I'm not a paid spokesman, but there's not that many brands out there. I had gone, through the Craftsman and then the Ryobi, and as a rule, Cordless tools were a disappointment. Mostly the batteries and the tool itself. They didn't have any power. And then the sales rep came around. And the unfortunate twist in my story is it's just before the fuel brushless tools came out. So I bought 9 tools, I think, and every second bare tool you bought, you got a free battery and charger. So I ended up with about 9 batteries, a 6-bay charger, a bunch of single chargers, and 9 tools, plus I bought a few more afterwards. Truth be told, I probably DeWalt is just as good, if not the same. I don't know who makes them. I guess they make their own. But Milwaukee does, at least the company I deal with, you look up the model number, there's all the information for it, and parts list and everything else. So that's the good side. The bad side, I'm going to have to deal with the fact that my non-fuel tools are at the service life interval. I only have 2 fuel tools out of all the tools I have. I'm going to start burning up brushes. Now, this is my 3/8 ratchet. I use that the most. I use it for everything. I mean, it'll take lug nuts off. And this isn't even the strong one. It's only like 160 foot-pounds. But I use it. It's like my right hand. I mean, sometimes my left hand. I mean, it's handy. And I was winding in these shelves the other day, and it started to die. I know that the switch is still good. Now, I've looked up the parts. They sell a switch card and a switch brush card, because the switch and brush are hooked together with wires. It would run up through the back. I've already had the back off. I can see my brushes are gone. I found brushes online. They're $6. So I'm going to try to order them if I can find them and fix it. Meanwhile, I had a couple of options. I have 2 of these Impact. They take an impact bit. This is the actual fuel one. It's got 3 power settings. And they sell these adapters. 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2-inch drive. This one's 3/8. I'll put the 1/4 bit in my non-fuel version. This just happened today because I turned my garage upside down looking for those adapters. I don't use them very often. I actually don't use the impact tool very much. I started building a big deck on my house. I have the woodworking tools, Milwaukee Cordless as well. Skill saw. The first day I used a skill saw, sidebar on that. With a battery showing 2 bars, I cut up all the pressure treated for my deck with 1 battery. It was only on half charge. The 4 bars is charged. It's incredible what they're doing with batteries. And I only got like the 4.0 XCs and the 4.0 regulars. Now they're up to. The battery technology's come a long way in the 5 or 6 years I've had these, and I use them every day. So the Impact one I found with the stainless screws in the deck I was building, square drive, it was kind of hard on them compared to my Impact. So I started using that instead, or the drill. I have 1 fuel drill and 1 regular drill. It came in a combo pack I bought. So anyway, I turned my garage upside down, and finally I ordered new bits on Amazon, and they showed up today, and I started using the fuel version, working on the transmission, and it works pretty good. I'm going to use it. Again, I ordered the 3/8 fuel version of that, found it online, new in the box, like $130. The switch brush card combo for this one is not available anymore, and that was like $66. So if I can get brushes and it fixes it, I'll continue to use it. If not, I'm not going to spend $60, $70 when it was $130 for the fuel version. But my Sawzall my grinder that I use a lot. Those are non-fuel, and I gotta just, they probably gotta burn up, and I'll either have to fix them or get new ones, I guess. I mean, I got good service life out of them. I have zero complaints. The batteries are awesome. Again, no complaints. I went to strip this transmission yesterday without my trusty 3/8 drive Impact Milwaukee. So I had to dig out an air hose and my old snap-on 3/8 Impact. And wow, you want to talk about working in black and white. Tripping over the air hose, and it's just a pain. You get so spoiled by cordlessness. Is that a word? I'll finish up with a quick story. I had asked the Milwaukee rep for a string trimmer and a blower. I said, I have all these batteries. I don't want to buy a different brand. I wish you'd hook me up. He said, well, we have a blower, so I got that. That's really handy for blowing off leaves and deck and all that stuff. It's not going to replace something a landscaper uses, but it's pretty handy for, quick cleanup of stuff like that. And they didn't make a string trimmer at the time, so in 2016, I'm at a tool show, and I buy this DeWalt 40-volt string trimmer. It's actually made for a contractor, so they can go on the job and not make noise with the two-stroke one early in the morning. It's more productive. You can go in there and not make a lot of noise. So 40-volt, and they also have the cordless chainsaw, which I haven't bought yet. I heard they have some problem with the oiling system, so that was, again, 4 years ago now, so I guess we've probably got it figured out by now. I can look into it. But so the story of this DeWalt, I'm carrying it out of the tool show, and I run into the new Milwaukee rep, and they say, oh yeah, we're coming out with a string trimmer. Well, now I got this mongrel, but I didn't know when I bought it what an awesome piece this was. So on a DeWalt 40-volt battery, 3 bars is charged. It came charged 2 bars right out of the box, and I put the battery in it in 2016. We're in the spring of 2020, and because it came with 2 batteries. That was part of the deal. It was like $190, 2 batteries in the string trimmer. I used it 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 without charging it. And finally, the other day, it started flashing. It was still working, but it slowed down. So I put my spare battery in that I charged up when I got it in 2016. And it'll probably go another 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's incredible. I charged up the other battery, and I mean, I know if you used it every day, probably you might get a day out of it. I only weed whack, I don't know, not that much. So still, that's pretty incredible. What they're doing with batteries nowadays is unreal. So one of these days, I'll say goodbye to my Ryobi stuff. I got 2 good batteries left, and I was using that little saw for vinyl siding, but I'm pretty much done with vinyl siding. And this tool cabinet typically holds all my Milwaukee tools, but they usually spread all over the shop. 6-bay charger. Anyway, like and subscribe. That's my story. Bye-bye.